What's up, guys? Intelitech Studios here, and today we have episode 36 of Vacuum Saved. At least I believe it's episode 36. I always I'm always hesitant to say the number of what episode it is because I never remember. But whatever is in the title is obviously the correct number. So on this episode of Vacuum Saved, it is Dyson edition, and it's very heavily Dyson edition too because it's nothing but Dyson. Literally nothing but Dyson. And I should specify that this machine I actually purchased from Marco, also known as Vacuums and Carpet Cleaner Guy. And this Dyson DC28 Air Muscle is one that I don't think I've featured before in a vacuum save, but I might have. And this one was one I got from my local vacuum store back when it was still open, unfortunately. And the rest of these machines, including the 4 back here, this 33, this little Dyson stick vac, as well as this Hoover and that Hoover, I all got yesterday from the same person. It was basically an older gentleman who was retiring from repairing vacuum cleaners, and he had a good amount of Dysons he was wanting to get rid of. He also had quite a few Sharks, but he wasn't interested in getting rid of any of the Sharks because he actually was still fixing the Sharks and selling them and giving them to places that use them commercially. So he had a bunch of Sharks, mostly navigators, but a few rotators as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much that. And those 2 Hoovers were ones that he was just about to throw away. So I went ahead and grabbed those as well since they were just in a pile with a Bissell Power Force Helix, like just a basic one, and then a couple carpet cleaners I didn't really feel like doing anything with. So I only grabbed the 2 Hoovers, and I grabbed all the Dysons. And I originally grabbed the 5 uprights for $100, but I saw this on the shelf in his garage, because it was in his garage where he was showing me all these. And he said he didn't have a charger for it. He wasn't sure what to do with it. So he was kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to sell it or if I want to get rid of it. And I said, well, if you did want to get rid of it, how much would you want for it? He's like, yeah, give me $35 and it's yours. And I'm like, would 30 do? And he's like, sure, because I didn't have any 5s on me. But yeah, so I got this. Doesn't have a charger. Don't know if it works. Just has the turbo brush. I assume this is a V11. When I press the trigger, it does that. It says medium. So I can obviously select what mode. But there isn't enough power in the machine to turn on. Or maybe there is and it's just refusing to turn on because maybe there's something else wrong with it, but it doesn't say. So this one, somewhere it says, there we go, model SV14. So I don't know what model that is, but I assume that's a V11 because I'm pretty sure SV12 was the V10, and I think SV14 is the V11, but I could be wrong. So it's probably a V11 Animal, is my guess. Has a purple filter. That's what the filter looks like, so it needs cleaned. But it's in good shape. It's not broken, at least nothing that I can tell. And it looks interesting. It's very heavy. I don't like how heavy it is, but I will try to find a charger for it. One thing I'm curious about, because I gave my dad my Dyson V7 Animal Plus, and I'm wondering if that charger is the same as the charger that comes with the V11s, because if it is, then I can just take this over there, plug the charger in real quick, and see if it powers on. Because I assume, even if I plug it in, even if it's not charged, it'll still power on, right? Or maybe I have to let it charge first, I'm not sure. Yeah, so there's the filter. The HEPA filter still looks great, but the premotor filter is a bit dirty, so that'll obviously get a wash before I try to use this machine. But still, get some life out of it, which originally when I first looked at this, that screen was not lighting up when I pushed the trigger, so I'm not sure what the deal is there. Maybe there is something actually wrong with it, or maybe it is just missing the charger. I don't know much about the V11. I've never had one, never used one in person, so I was kind of going in blind. But that's why I couldn't really give them a bunch of money for it, because I'm like, I don't know if this thing works. This thing might be completely clapped, and if that's the case, then it's not really worth a whole lot, other than maybe selling the bin, or the power head, or the turbo brush. So he also had a V6, which I wanted to grab, but it was in the pile with the shark, so I just kind of assumed that it wasn't for sale. But it was missing the motor housing, but it was the blue Cyclone with the wand and the floor head. So it appeared to be a V6 or a DC56 or something like that. It was something with the old style attachment fitting. So who knows what that was. But yeah, so all I can do as far as this V11 is just show you that when I push the trigger, it pulls up that screen. Doesn't tell me anything else. I think when I take the filter out, yeah, it says filter not seated, and it tries to show me how to put it back on. So it's interesting for sure, and I will try to test it out in some fashion to see if it works, because if it works, then I'll buy the wand and the power head and do a review on that and see if it'll replace my... I can already say it probably won't replace my Dream T30 as my daily stick vac, just because it's so much heavier. But if I don't know, it just depends. But obviously I need to make sure it works first. So next, we have all these Dysons. So the 17 and the 28 were acquired separately, so actually... Oops, I just slammed the 28 right there. So, obviously, I've had these ones for a while. I know they work. This isn't really... It's more so just showing off me getting them. But I did do some work to both of these. Whereas these other ones I just acquired yesterday. So I haven't done anything to them. The only thing I did is I did take a dusting brush and clean off the front of a few of them and try to clean off the handles a little bit so I'm not touching the dust. And I actually did that with this 33. So, here we got a Dyson DC33 multi-floor. Ew. Definitely needs a new hose. No denying that. Has both the attachments, so that's fun. Got the combination crevice tool and dusting brush, and the stair tool. Looks good to me. Needs washed. Looks like the plastic right there is cracked off, but still holds just fine, if a bit loose. So, looking at the filters. Oh, that bin's kind of hard to pop off. So that needs cleaned. Ew. Nasty. Looking right there. DC33. Do we have a date code? 40th week of 2011. Oh, this one's been rebuilt. That's interesting. So this is a refurb. Yep. I will register all these on my Dyson account, but unfortunately, as of now, my Dyson account is still not working properly and will not let me log in. So that's annoying. Here's a pre-filter. Bit dirty, got some hair on it, in need of a wash for sure. For some reason, the gasket for the filter popped out with the filter instead of staying in the... That's a bit odd. So, the Cyclone is bypassing a good amount of hair. There's not supposed to be this much large debris on a Dyson filter. So there's something not right here. That's what the motor intake looks like. Pop that back on. Looking at the HEPA filter. Well, it looks okay. Oh, it needs changed. It's clogged with carbon dust, but there's no coarse debris on this. So this filter is doing its job, at least, of keeping that crap out of the motor. Because otherwise you'd see a bunch of coarse debris in the motor outtake. So, put the Cyclone back on. The clutch right there, it's in carpet mode. Moves to bare floors just fine. I suspect this will need a clutch. Brush roll doesn't appear to be in too bad of condition. Bristles, oh no, they're not. They're not too worn. They still stick out a good amount. Yeah, they still stick out a good amount. Need cleaned. Don't know how the clutch is. We'll see how it is. You got the U-bend right there. Alright, so just your typical late model Dyson. So we'll give this a try. Oh, that motor sounds a bit rough. Maybe that's just a clog somewhere. Still has a bit of a long wind down without the cyclone. Cyclone probably needs cleaned. Cutting off a bit of airflow, I'd imagine. It's easy enough to do on these. Well, that scared me a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. That's a bit startling. I haven't heard the clutch noise in a while. Oh, Jesus. Let's flip this around. Well, the brush roll is spinning. I'm wondering if maybe the clutch is caught on something. Maybe there's something that somehow got jammed in there. Or maybe the clutch is just bad, and maybe the actual clutch mechanism is like damaged in some way and it's causing it to stall like that. So it seems like this one needs new hose, new filters, new clutch, and a good clean. The only broken piece appears to be this right here, and that doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world. I think this one will be a candidate for sale. Cord's in good shape. Obviously the tool holds on just fine, so that's not a problem. In fact, I'll probably put these tools on this 25 if that works, and just sell this 33 without tools. So we'll unplug that. So it's not too far gone. Definitely going to need some work. But the motor isn't entirely dead like the last 33 that I got. So next up, I guess we'll just go from left to right. Got a Dyson DC65 Animal Complete. I don't know why the camera looks so awful. I don't know if it's because I don't have enough light in here or what, but yeah. So, okay. Upright standing mechanism works just fine. Feels a bit stiff. Ooh. A lot of flex in the body. Not atypical with these. It does swivel. Ooh, I heard a crack. That's not good. Alright. Pull the cable off this one. Of course, it's a Dyson, so if you want to test the wand, you have to pull the whole cable off. Which, not a big deal to me. Alright. Plug this in. Let's hope this one doesn't start screaming at me. This one's obviously got the newer style cord because it's a 65. So I'm going to try to... I'll just plug this in real quick. Alright. Plugged in now. I just check and make sure there's a premotor filter in it. Okay, and there it is. Looks a bit dusty. Could use a wash. Bypassing a lot of dust over there, which isn't great. See, does this have a date on it? It does not. Has the original stair tool, which is nice. A lot of these don't come with these. So this one has the second row of brush strips, which they removed in the new models. So I'll definitely be keeping that. Swap out the new one if need be. So let's see what this does. A lot of suction. Oh! Oh, okay. Well, that fell over. Well, brush roll has good agitation. Almost seems like the brush roll's a little messed up, but yeah, there's a brush roll. There's a sticker on the bottom, it looks like. Let's... Okay. There we go. Yeah, of course. So that's in rough shape, but there's the 65. Brush roll does spin freely. There might be some crap stuck in here. Could be why it's making that noise that it's making. But the power head does work. So we'll look at the... That needs cleaned. We'll look at the HEPA filter real quick. So far this one seems okay. Not quite sure. I'm wondering... It was probably thrown out because of a COV or lower hose. We'll check that in a sec. HEPA filters, I'm not even going to bother looking at that. I can tell if it's this discolored on this side, it's going to be very dark on the other side. So that needs changed. But first order business is checking the COV hose and the lower hose. That's what broke on my 41. Oh, look at that. And that'll do it. That'll do it. So that has snapped clean off. Look at that. That has snapped clean off. Let me actually take this back off. Nope. Wrong way. Alright. And we can see this very thin plastic piece snapped right off. The hose doesn't appear to have any splits in it. That's the sad part. It's just that this little bit right here, come on, focus. This little bit right here just snapped clean off. Probably from the pressure of all that. So, whether or not the COV hose is fine, the lower hose is shot. And of course, this is the model where this is not an easy part to change, because in the kinetic and in the multi-floor models, the Ball Multi-Floor 2, DC40, all of those, this is an easy part to just easily, your little tab right in here, you just click it, pop this right out, slap a new one in, you're good to go. This one, you have to completely disassemble the entire ball assembly to get to it, which is very irritating and unfortunate. So this is going to require a lot of work to change this hose, and of course, because of the way this holds on here, this It's not like this is going to be a problem that'll be remedied, because the actual part that wears down is perfectly able to do that again. Now, looking at the COV, which is changeover valve hose, in case you didn't know, if I flip this over to give us access to the COV hose, you can see, actually let's take this filter off, which is really hard to do with one hand. Yeah. Oh, yep, that needs changed. You can see the pleats are even messed up. So yeah, that's trash. If we look here, I don't feel any splits in the COV hose. This feels okay, which would make sense because we had very strong suction from the hose. And if I push this down so I can feel it the other way, that looks good. Again, I'm not feeling any splits on the other side of this. So yeah, so the COV hose, the changeover valve hose, is okay. It's just this that's snapped, and that's what's causing there to be no suction from the power head. And this clip feels like some crappy aftermarket clip too, because this is not the right clip. Ew, nasty. So let me pop cleaner head off, and yeah, you can see right there. The hose is fine. The hose isn't split. It's just this part that just snapped clean off. And I can stretch this out, in fact, and feel the back of it. There's a lot of, you can see there's a lot of debris in here as a result of this break. But yeah, this hose is disgusting. But it's not split. But regardless, I actually wonder if I can find just this piece and screw it onto this hose and then screw it in with that screw. Because if I could do that, then I could save this machine pretty easily. Then this machine would be able to get back up and running. Because this hose is fine. At least every part that I'm able to feel. It's not dry rotted, it's not split. It's just this little clip that came undone. And this is very nasty. I can... Ugh. Yuck. So it needs cleaned. But other than that, I mean, I could probably just... Now that this is out, I could just shoot some water through this and spit it out this end. Not... As long as I'm careful not to anything in the motor. I'm sure that'd be okay. Then the other thing is this. Oh yeah, we can see. So there's supposed to be two little spacers right here, and these like to snap off. This one has snapped, but that's not the biggest deal in the world, because worst case scenario just means that when it's standing up, it'll kind of lean to the side a little bit. But so that's not great, but that's not the end of the world. The biggest thing is I need to find a way to replace this piece and screw it onto this hose. And if I can't find a replacement for that, then I'm going to have to dig into this thing and change this whole part, which will be a process. But yeah, so Dyson DC65 Animal Complete does work, is a perfect candidate for repair. I just need to find this hose. And screw you, Dyson, for not making this easily replaceable like it is on the older and smaller and cheaper DC40. So when you release the 65, you should have updated this with this design, if not done it in the first place on the 41. Even with the newest Ball Animal 2, I'm still not, it's not clear if they've fixed this problem. The Multi-Floor 2 and the Kinetic Big Ball don't have this problem, because there's a little tab, you just pull it out, the little tab, you just click in, yank the whole hose out, slap a new one in. This one doesn't have that, unfortunately, so this one will need some more intricate work done to it. So yeah, that's a DC65, so just needs a lower hose and a set of filters, and possibly, worst case scenario, maybe a new brush roll. But yeah, bristles are in good shape, so I will still clean this out. But yeah, so you can see there's obviously going to be a lot of debris stuck in here because there has not been adequate suction to pull anything through here. So I'm going to put this back together and set it aside, and we'll move on to the other ball. Alright, so as a quick little fix, I just took a piece of packing tape and I just kind of hooked it underneath this little tab and tried to like tape it and wrap it around this plastic valve right here to kind of put it on there and temporarily hold this in place to see if this will restore the suction, because if so, then I'll know it's just that tab and not the hose itself. Okay. So yeah, not the tightest thing in the world. It's a little loose, but it's obviously not going to be a permanent fix, but that should at least help us get the machine working temporarily until I can find a solution to that tab not being in place. Alright, now we have the Dyson DC25 Animal. Looking at this one have a date on it. 45th week of 2009. Okay, so this is a very early DC25. There's the filter. As per usual with these, it's very difficult to get out. Ooh. Oh, the smell coming off of that cyclone is pretty potent. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that someone had pets and also did some sort of a remodel. Perhaps some drywall mixed with pet and all sorts of nastiness. And it looks like there is some of that fine dust in the intake going into the motor. So, as far as the HEPA goes, let's see what we got here. It's about what I'd expect. Nothing crazy, nothing special. I didn't like the purple on the DC25 for the longest of time, but it's kind of grown on me a little bit. It's not too bad. Oh, it's not wanting to cooperate. Why is this being so difficult? It's because it doesn't want to line up on the other side there. Come on, stay in place. Stop trying to move out of the way. There we go. Looking at the... Oh crap, okay. Brush roll. Bit of play in it. Bristles are a bit worn. Probably needs brush roll. End cap is worn out like they always are with these. So that's probably broken. Actually, I think I can turn that with my nail. Yeah, I'll check that later. But that's very loose. Tighten that, that's still loose. So, probably needs a brush roll and an end cap, just like my 25 did. And, yeah. Ooh, don't see any splits in the hose. Nice thing about the 25 is this hose is a lot more robust, so it doesn't usually split. Woohoo, that looks like drywall dust. Someone's been having some fun with this machine. Oh, that button's missing. So it's going to need a new hose button, if not a whole new hose. Isn't that great? Oh, and the pedal's missing as well. So it actually releases, just like the new Dysons. Still holds, but now there's no pedal. You just pull it back. Honestly, that's not even... You just have to manually push that down. Which honestly, I don't even consider that a problem. Well, other than that, I guess. But yeah, that hose looks okay. Give us a run. Makes the same noise that mine did. Brush roll seems fine. Yep. Aha! Oh, this is hilarious. Other than the back pedal being missing, this literally has every single issue that my 25 had, where the valve on the back doesn't like to close, where the brush roll makes a bit of a funny noise because the end cap is cracked. Obviously it's cracked because it's moving way too freely. And the seal on the HEPA filter is messed up, so it needs a new HEPA filter. And then the only additional issues are it's missing the tools. Not anymore. And it needs this valve kind of cleaned out so that way it pops back up again. And then of course it has missing the pedal, but I don't even consider that a problem. That's just fine. Handle moves freely just like mine does. And then of course the button for the hose is missing. But obviously, I was going to say the wand holds on just fine, but of course now it pops off. But yeah, the hose looks like it's in decent shape. So hopefully I can find just this button, because I would like to not replace the hose if I don't have to. But if I do find a split in this hose, then obviously I'll just change the whole thing. But yeah. Oh, that shouting and screaming. So yeah, this one needs a button for the hose, needs that valve cleaned. There we go. Needs a new end cap, new HEPA filter, possibly a new brush roll, and obviously needs the cyclone needs cleaned really badly. So yeah, that's the DC-25, and yeah, so this thing is in surprisingly okay condition. Alright, so here we have a Dyson DC-14 Animal, and it's an early one at that. I can tell because it has that little silver loop. Focus. It has that little silver loop on the handle, and it has this little button to release the fake filter door. So, oh, I forgot that's not behind the bin on this model. It's underneath, which is annoying. Looking at the filter, obviously I can't look at the other one because it's a bit more of an involved process, but it's not too bad. Cyclone stinks as per usual with these. And oh, feels a bit wonky. Looking at this, lower hose is all clapped out. Brush roll looks really good, actually. We'll see how that clutch is. Some rusted screws on the base plate. Could do to be changed. This is from the 27th week of 2005. So this is an early 14. I think my all floors 14, I think, is an 05 as well. And my low reach is an 04. So all my 14s are really early ones. But yeah, missing the stair tool. Has the brush and the crevice tool. So yeah, we'll see if the hose has any tears in it. Hose looks to be in good shape. Don't see any obvious tears in it. Not concerned with the lower hose having tears in it. That's going to get changed either way since it's lost its tension. For some reason this doesn't want to push down all the way. Not sure why that is. Oh well. And it's on carpets. Let's see what this does. Well, good section. Oh. Brush is not turning at all. That clutch is crapped out. Does not shock me one bit. Yep, nothing. Nothing at all. Some dust in there. Nothing. So this one works perfectly. It's just same problem that always happens with these old Dysons. The clutch is completely shot. I mean completely shot. Like that brush roll isn't even trying to turn. And it's on the carpet mode. You know, you'd be forgiven for thinking that it's on the bare floor mode, but it's not. It's on carpets. And so yeah. That is completely shot. Now, that tells me that that the clutch that's in here is the original clutch from 2005. Because, you know, that's a 17-year-old clutch. And those belts have had 17 years to completely wear down to nothing. And that's definitely what's happened. So this one's good, just needs a clutch. So just routine maintenance. Obviously, the HEPA filter is going to need changed. And the post-motor filter, or the pre-motor filter, might actually just wash up just fine. So it might even not need a pre-motor filter. So this thing needs a clutch, a HEPA filter, and a stair tool. And that's about it. And then a good clean. So pretty satisfied with that. So, and then, you know, in terms of functionality, you know, $40 later, slap a clutch in this thing, and it's good to go. It'll work. It'll be a daily for somebody. I'll still change the HEPA if it needs it, which I'm sure it will. But yeah, not too bad. Not too shabby one bit. Just needs a basic service. Nothing too crazy about it. So that's to be expected. You're not going to expect any 14 at this point to have a good clutch in it, unless it was recently serviced. Same story with this 07. This 07 is actually 2 years newer than the 14. This one's from 2007. I already looked at the serial plate. This one looks like it's a little bit faded, but that could just be the dust. So this is a Dyson DC07 Pink. I'm not sure what store this would have came from. I don't know. I wonder if I want to say this was like breast cancer awareness, but I'm not quite sure about that. I think in the UK, they sold this as a breast cancer awareness machine with like a lavender purple plastic instead of a gray plastic. I think it was called the DC07 Click or something. All these cords are also really nasty. So, like me just touching this cord, it's very grody. Can't imagine what's going to come off this cord just from using it. But yeah, so we'll pop the bin off. Nothing seems broken. Oh, there's something. Cobwebs and whatnot. This whole thing's filthy. Ooh, that's discolored on this side. You can tell that's clapped. That'll need changed. That might wash up, but with that much hair in it, it's probably all going to get stuck in it. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of junk underneath my fingers that'll need washed. Obviously, all of these were sitting in a garage for a very long time, so they're going to need washed. Well, that popped in really easily. Normally, these are a pain to get up. Let's see, does that work? Yep. It opens up just fine. I don't know why the filter is down here below the max line. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like up here. That looks a little funky, but whatever. This could be a replacement bin. So I know the Cyclone's pink, but the bin, obviously. Now, obviously, the later 07s like this had clear bin flaps. So they would have been neutral in terms of the accent color. This one has all the tools. There's no broken cord clips or anything. We've got all 3 attachments. Kind of worn out, but I mean, they're there. Ooh, the base plate's not on all the way. See, that's off. Actually gonna take care of that while we're here, so I don't want that causing any problems. Just take a quarter. Hair on the brush roll. These bristles are very sharp. You can really cut yourself on these bristles, on these old Dyson brush rolls. It looks like some of these bristles are a bit worn. And of course, there's a lot of crap in this side. There always is. Dirt and whatnot in there. Some hair. Obviously, whoever owned this, probably a woman with longer hair. Yeah, some of these bristles are just like worn down to nothing. So this will definitely need a new clutch, I can tell you that much, and it will need a new brush roll. But maybe that's all it needs. Oh, and a HEPA, obviously. Any Dyson that's this old should have the HEPA changed on it, because the HEPAs that these came with were not washable. A bit of play in the housing, in the brush roll housing. That's always typical with these. Ew. Various living creatures and cobwebs in here from the garage experience. So I'll pause this real quick and give this a run. It looks great underneath. Yeah, see how this runs. Alright, so here's the DC07 Pink, and we'll give this one a run. Okay. Feels like it's pulling back. when there's something stuck in the lawn. But it's especially stuck in one end over the other. As you can hear, it sounds different depending on which way I put the lawn in. Oh. Oh, wow. So surprisingly, on this one, the brush actually turns. It turns kind of violently, actually. And I can tell why, because there's some hair lodged underneath the belt. And, yeah, so it needs a new clutch, as you'd expect, but the brush does turn, so it could possibly be put off for a bit, as long as that hair was cleaned out from underneath the belt. Sorry, the hiccups right now. But yeah. But it works. I don't know if there's any blockages anywhere. Ew. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so the DC07 Pink works good. Just needs a HEPA, obviously. Needs a clean. Needs that whatever stuck in the wand removed. And possibly needs a new clutch and brush roll. So, yeah, probably would ideally take a new clutch and brush roll. So yeah, that's the DC07 Pink. And yeah, so that's all good. It runs, it just needs some stuff. Doesn't like this filter covers on these never like to stay in all the way. That's why I prefer the 14. But still, this color is very, very interesting. And I'll definitely get this one fixed up. And I might keep this one, I'm not quite sure. The other ones are kind of up in the air. This one's even more up in the air. I know there's some people that really like the pink DC07, but I'm also kind of like, do I want to bother? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the DC07 Pink. On to the next one. I can get this out of the way. Alright, next up we have one of the two machines in this video, which will not be from the Dyson lot acquisition. This one is the DC17 Animal Absolute. This was acquired from Vacuums and Carpet Cleaner Guy. And this one works. It had a brand new brush roll installed, but it did have an issue where the brush roll housing was a little bit worn out. So I basically shimmed each side of the brush roll with some pieces of cardboard to keep the brush roll from rattling. And I also had a full set of attachments that I put on this machine since it was missing those. So I had a crevice tool, dusting brush, and the stair tool. So this machine does work good now as a result. I will probably change the HEPA filter one of these days, but it's not a daily driver, so it's not really a concern. This machine is too heavy for me to use it, but it does work very well. It is one of the best performing Dysons in recent memory. Or I should say, it's one of the best performing Dysons of its time, easily the best performing Dyson that had ever been released up until the point that this was. And this one's actually properly designed for American carpets. This particular one is from 2008. It's a bit of a later one, you can tell because the wand doesn't have the seat clip on it. But it's in good shape, it works. My only complaint is that whoever had this before Marco did replaced the cable with some sort of like really thick rounded plug that's kind of obnoxious. Not a fan of that. I will try to find a genuine Dyson cable at one of these days. It does suck though because it appears that they have wired it directly into the power switch, so it's going to be a lot more annoying to replace the cable than if it was a genuine Dyson one that I could just easily plug in and go. But I will still change the cable one of these days, or just find another DC17 that has the proper cable on it, because my ideal DC-17 is the blue one, which the blue one is either the asthma and allergy or the total clean, because blue is my favorite color, but the purple one's the most common. It's probably the only Dyson where the purple is the most common. But yeah, so this one was saved, but not necessarily from the landfill or anything. But it has had a new brush roll installed and it's had all the attachments added to it. So now it's perfectly good. A little bit of cleanup, and that's all it took. So not much to say about this one. It works great now, as it should, and we'll give it a run. So yeah, it works perfectly fine now, as it should, and this machine does perform very, very well, but it's just, for me, it's too heavy. It's not easy to maneuver at all. It's very awkward to push, very awkward to pull. The handle on it isn't very nice, and it really is a shame, because this is one of the best cleaning Dysons that they ever released, until we actually got a good amount of stuff out of this carpet just from this small area. So the DC-17 is, out of all of the 4 fixed wheel Dysons, the DC-17 is the best performing one, and it's about tied with the newest Dyson ball models you can get, like the Ball Animal 2 and the Ball Multifloor 2. Those ones do perform very well. I would say they're about on par with this in terms of cleaning performance. Some people think the 17's better. Some people think the newer Dysons are better. The newest Dysons, I should say, are better. But yeah, and we're about to check out the Dyson DC-28, which is the model that replaced this, although the DC-17 actually lived on while this model was being discontinued, and they both actually ended up leaving the market at about the same time. The DC-17 you could still find up through about 2011, and the DC-28 was discontinued within 2 years of it being introduced. So the 28 was introduced in 2009 and discontinued in 2011. This was introduced in 2006 and also discontinued in 2011. But mine's from 2008. 2006 to about 2009 is when you'll find these most common, because obviously they weren't very common once they were replaced by the 27 and 28. I do want to get a Dyson DC-27 because it's basically a lot like the 28 that I'm about to show you, but it doesn't have any of the mechanical problems. It's a lot closer to the DC-17. I think the 27 is probably the best performing 4-wheel Dyson they ever made, but we'll see how that goes as soon as I get one, that is. So we're going to move on to the 28, which is another one that I have fixed up. 28 didn't need a whole lot in terms of actual work. It was more so just preventative maintenance, because the 28 is well known to having issues with its brush roll. So, Dyson Air Muscle, move that out of the way. So I've got the Dyson Air Muscle DC-28 Animal. It's called the Air Muscle because it has a massive mechanism underneath. It's got these springs that hold the cleaner head up, which means it falls back all the time, which is annoying. Oh, and here's a belt for the 17. And so yeah, haven't cleaned up the scratches off this one, but I did clean up the brush roll area so that way that doesn't stall. These 28s are well known for having mechanical problems, so this one will also not be a daily driver because Dyson does not service these anymore. It is impossible to find the parts for these anymore, at least where I looked. you can't replace the brush roll or anything. You have to replace the entire cleaner head. It's a massively wasteful repair, but this does do very well. This one actually has a pile height adjustment, which no Dyson ever has. You have bare floor, short pile, medium pile, and deep pile. In fact, I'll actually pull this off the tripod and show you this. There's a 17, by the way. So 28. There's that. So it actually has 4 height settings. And this massive mechanism with the brush roll. It's very intense and very convoluted. The filters in this one are fine. I think the pre-motor filter I probably need to wash. Yeah, so I do need to wash this. But other than that, it works great. I still won't use it because it's not a very reliable platform, but this filter does not want to go in. There we go. Yeah, so the filter actually sits in the filter slot. Even though it's the same spot as DC07, it fits in a bit differently. And then HEPA filter. This one is an early one from 2010. And of course you can't pull this off without removing this, which is annoying, but the HEPA filter is fine. Here, I guess I'll pull that out and show y'all. So, not too bad. Doesn't want to latch in properly. There we go. Put the bin back on. Same bin as the 33 and the 27. In case you're wondering. There's the brush roll. This one does deep clean very well. It's very thick bristles. Does an excellent job at deep cleaning. But it does a very terrible job with any sort of surface debris because it gets itself down so much that it won't let anything pass through it. Lower hose right here has actual springs in it, which, as you can tell, make too much noise. But this isn't a review, this is just showing me getting it and it running. So yeah. Sounds to me like there's an air leak somewhere. Is this not in all the way? This is really bizarre how the gasket's on the filter door, so you have to really make sure this clip clicks in properly. It was working, but for whatever reason now it doesn't have good suction. I don't understand why. It was just working. I was just not on all the way. I think that's it. This filter's on. The filter's on in a funky fashion. That's screwing it up a little bit. That should be fine. There we go. There we go. Much better. So, as you can see, it grooms the carpet incredibly well, picks up good amount of stuff inside the carpet. But just like the 17, in fact, even more so than the 17, it's really cumbersome to use. And I would much rather use a modern Dyson ball with a better brush roll, like the Kinetic. Well, even though the Kinetic itself is relatively awkward because it's so big, but especially the ball motif for an Animal 2, you can tell, did get some stuff. So that's it. That's the Dyson edition, vacuum saved. Got all sorts of Dyson crap. These two obviously already work. And the rest of these just need some TLC. So to recap, DC65 needs that tab replaced. Temporarily works now since I taped it, but obviously that's not going to last. DC25 needs an end cap. Needs the valve fixed, needs a HEPA filter, and a new hose clip. DC33 needs a new hose and a new clutch. DC07 needs a clutch, possibly brush roll, possibly, and needs the wand unclogged. And obviously they all these need a clean and a post motor filter. And the 14 needs a clutch. And that's pretty much it. And obviously, again, a clean post-motor filter and a stair tool. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I think I already recapped everything these need. But, yeah, so that's that. And then I also got a couple Hoovers, but I don't know what the status of these are since they don't have cords on them. But yeah, so that's Intelitech Studios signing out with the Dyson exclusive edition of Vacuum Saved. Look at all these cords. Now we got to get all this crap cleaned up and taken care of. But yeah, that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you all have a good one. Peace.